Let's demystify the Buddhist philosophy of emptiness. This morning's lesson is drawn from the first five aggregates portion of Avalokiteshvara's The Heart of Wisdom Sutra. Together, let's chant. Listen, Shariputra, form is emptiness, emptiness is form. Form does not differ from emptiness, emptiness does not differ from form. The same is true with healing, appraisal, impulse, and awareness. Dude, I still remember my first reading of the Heart of Wisdom Sutra. Back then, I didn't know that was the full title. I thought it was just simply the Heart Sutra, which isn't the name as much as it is the nickname. That's like meeting some kid and learning and thinking that his real name is Skeeter. One time I met a woman who insisted that God's name was Jealous. I said, "Are you sure that he wasn't speaking hyperbolically?" "No, there are no figures of speech. Everything in the Bible is literal." So I took my literal point of view and applied it to the Heart Sutra. And this is way back during my first 3-year retreat, way back in the early 90s. And I read this build-up. Oh, here comes the Heart Sutra. Here's it coming. It's the essence of all Mahayana thought. Well, yippee! So I read it. And it didn't make any sense. It didn't tell me how to meditate. It used a term without defining a term, which is, I find to be lacking in intellectual integrity. It was stupefying. Just like that wonderful song from that same from the late 90s, Stupefied. So I struggled for years to find explanations to what emptiness was. And of course, with my luck, I attracted every narcissist in town. Narcissists love the differently abled. Because to a narcissist, the neurodivergent are like catnip. So all these terrible teachers would come to me with terrible things and say, well, if you can't understand emptiness, it's because you are fill in the blank. And they put all these spiritual flaws because I couldn't understand their explanation of emptiness. But here's the irony. Communication is not the test of communication is not how eloquent or how awesome the communicator is. The litmus test of communication is the degree of comprehension experienced by the listener, and it's the duty of the communicator. So it's my job right now to communicate the answer to the question, what is emptiness, in a way that hopefully is entertaining and also helpful. So my journey was a long and arduous one. It's my desire to make your journey just as easy as possible. My first tantric teacher, I take that back. Yeah, my first tantric teacher just got off and making emptiness sound as mysterious as possible. Bless his heart. So my second, my second teacher tried using similes, but still didn't really cut the mustard. My third teacher was deeply into philosophy, but it didn't really help. I got really good at doing all this hopscotch. Then another source kind of equated, sort of streamlined the fourth source, but it was still clunky. And so I used what good karma I had, if there is such a thing, A, to manage my disabilities, and B, I squandered on my spiritual training. And so I used every connection I had to get an audience with a reluctant teacher, Baka Tuko Rinpoche. And so I had my audience with him. I was so excited. I schlepped an entire duffel bag full of books and with paper clips in it because I had questions I wanted to ask. And I told him that I was able to contemplate emptiness, but I couldn't meditate emptiness in a deeply visceral way. And he laughed, and he gave me the Nyingma pointing out instructions. And basically, I got half the pointing out instructions from him, and half I learned from what's his face? The guy who wrote Masters of Miracles, Tukultundep. So, here's what I learned. Tukultundep taught me that there is a play of mind, and it's not our job to control it. It's not our job to stuff it or minimize or select. That's concentration. It's our job to simply notice what mind is doing. Mind can perceive. Mind can perceive sights and sounds and sensations and flavors and scents and the like. Mind can do more than perceive. Mind can also emote, intend, reason, recall, and imagine. And we can take those 6 faculties and apply it to all manner of things. From the external to the internal, from the physical to the mental, from the pleasurable to the painful, from the interesting to the boring, from the glorious to the grotesque. We can watch the play of mind. Later I learned that every time we inhale, whether we mean to or not, we are effortlessly accessing our sympathetic nervous system, which is ensconced within the thoracic region of our spinal cord that corresponds or correlates with our rib cage. We are wired to notice things. We're not wired to... This mechanism is not wired to assist us with either extreme of mind blanking or concentration, but instead it helps us with the middle ground of simply noticing and doing so vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly. And that is what the big kids call mindfulness. So that was my gift from Bakatoku and also Chagdud-tulku. I take that back from Tukultundep. Don't want to confuse these people here. Now, Bakatoku told me the key to viscerally realizing emptiness was to physically relax. That was echoed by the chondro of Chagdud-tulku, who wrote that we are to relax into the nature of mind. So I got the idea of relaxing, but I was still a little bit fuzzy in the whole nature of mind thing. It sounded delightfully mysterious, but what did it mean? Simply this. Every time we exhale, whether we know it or not, we effortlessly and automatically access our parasympathetic nervous system. It too is ensconced within our spinal cord, this time in both the lower lumbar region corresponding to the pelvic region and the tippy top of the cervical region corresponding either to the top of the neck or the bottom of the brain. Together, this is wired to support both physical relaxation and mental release. But what has that to do with emptiness? Well, remember way back when I mentioned it only makes sense when seen through the lens of figurative language. Here's how it works. Brace yourself, strap in, take a deep breath. Every time we relax into our exhalation, whatever we noticed during our previous inhalation could begin to feel less graspable. Disappointed, unimpressed, figured you could get more from a, a fortune cookie. Allow me to apply the magic component of figurative language. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever we notice during our inhalation could feel as if it was as non-graspable as a vast, empty void. But you might ask, and well so, what is a real-world example of a non-graspable, vast, empty void so I can wrap my furry little mind around it? Glad you asked. Every time we relax into our exhalation, whatever we noticed during our previous inhalation could feel as if it was as non-graspable as a vast empty void, like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although is tantalizing to the eye, is non-graspable to the hand. That's it. You can look at blue sky. It's tantalizing. It's groovy. It's amazing. You can reach for the blue sky. You can splay your fingers. You can ball them into fists. You can bring them back before your face. Bring them into your field of vision. You can open your fingers, and you will not find a trace of blue because literally the illusion of the infinite azure sky is non-graspable. So we're not saying that all phenomena are literally non-graspable, but as we relax into our exhalation, due to the mechanism of a parasympathetic nervous system, things feel literally less graspable, and then we explain that physiological sensation with a figure of speech as if they were as non-graspable as a vast empty void. And that's what us big kids call a simile. Way back, I think it was in 4th grade, I had the good fortune to learn the difference between a simile and a metaphor. Maybe you did as well. Let's explore that for a moment, shall we? Let's pretend there's some guy, and his name is Bob. And Bob is tenacious. Well, good for you, Bob. Now let's explore Bob's tenaciously through the tool of a simile. Bob is as tenacious as a dog with a bone. Good luck getting a bone away from a dog. Okay, so we get the idea. Yeah. So that's a simile. What's the metaphor? Bob is a dog with a bone. Now that's a metaphor, is it? But is it literal? Is Bob really a dog? I don't know. Does Bob prance around town sniffing the asses of strangers? Because I gotta tell you, such things are frowned upon in polite society. So just as we can recognize a difference between those three statements, one is literal, one is a simile, and one is metaphoric. Similarly, when we look at that statement, it makes sense that as we relax into our exhalation, whatever we notice during our inhalation could feel as if it was as non-graspable as a vast, empty void. And now things make more sense. And going back to the original passage, the whole idea of the 5 aggregates gets really blown out of proportion. The Buddha taught extemporaneously. And so when he was talking about the way that we habitually organize experience, he kept changing numbers. Sometimes he would use 5 divisions, sometimes 12, sometimes up into the 20s, depending upon who he was speaking to and, the people who were listening, whose question he was answering, and who comprised the audience. So the Buddha had a non-superstitious view of the 5 aggregates. 5 aggregates or 5 components are just one of the many ways the Buddha sometimes divided up the human experience the way a meal might be divided up in a bento box served to you at a traditional Japanese restaurant. So here we're talking about form, feeling, appraisal, impulse, and awareness. And all that means is form is a concise way of saying body. Feeling is just a concise way of describing the pleasure or the pain or neither are the neutrality that the body can experience. Appraisal is just the intensity or the volume of the aforementioned pleasure and pain. Impulse is just our instinctual, evolutionary, survival mechanism response to that which we just perceived. And our awareness is the perception of the whole Megillah. So whatever we are experiencing, as we breathe in, we can notice it. We are wired to notice it. And as we breathe out, we're wired to let go of it. Now, letting go of it doesn't mean that we are shoving something away, like Sisyphus shoving at a boulder. No, it just means that it's easier during our exhalation to let go of our resistance to the presence of things we don't like and the absence of things we do. And so there you have it. Emptiness is just a metaphor for the fleeting experience of non-graspability. Enlightenment is not walking around 24/7 bumping into things because you think they don't exist. Emptiness is simply mastery of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. It means that we get so good at practicing the Buddha's Eightfold Path that we now practice it spontaneously, habitually, easily, and effectively. And the whole bit with emptiness is just one of many tools to get us more and more comfortable with not just perception, but release. I look forward to chanting and meditating with you after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I spent more than 8 hours a day, every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of Buddhism so that you would not have to. Welcome to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. This morning, let's continue playing with the latest iteration of Shakyamuni's Easy Dzogchen. Shakyamuni is one of the Mahayana nicknames for the historical Buddha, whether he or she was real or merely archetypical. So what we're going to do this morning, it's like we're cooking a pancake. We should cook one side, and then you flip it over and you cook the other side. Only instead of using Bisquick, we're going to play with mantra meditation and silent meditation. So let's begin by reviewing the meaning of the mantra. Together, let's chant. With whom we invoke the example of the Muni, wise one. Maha, greatly wise one, Muni, yea, of the Shakyas, Soha, wishing enlightenment for all. Gotta warn you, every Lama has his own personal definition of everything. That's why the Dalai Lama said, every Lama is his own sect. This is my explanation of the mantra. You might think it sucks, that's your prerogative. So, for the entirety of our practice, we're going to be practicing the essence of Dzogchen as taught many centuries ago by the first human teacher of Dzogchen, who was known in the Swat Valley as Prahevajra and later became known in Tibet as Gaurab Dorje. Many centuries later, those teachings were reinterpreted by the great Tibetan saint Zalpatrul Rinpoche. It is through the lens of the teachings of these saints who have come before me that I now share these teachings with you. Let's bring the spontaneous play of mind into the path of awareness and letting go. This is known by many names, including Dzogchen's Great Completion Stage, Sutra, Mahamudra, Ati Yoga, or Treksha, which translates into English as slice through. As we breathe in, let's silently and mentally recite, relaxing into the awareness of this. And as I mentioned during the opening lesson, this is whatever we experience in the present moment, whether it is external or internal or physical or mental or pleasurable or painful or interesting or boring or glorious or grotesque. It's simply this. During our exhalation, we physically relax as best we can as we chant this 12-syllable mantra 4 times per breath. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesuwa. 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 A little faster. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesuwa. 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 As children, the first bicycle we most likely received came with training wheels, which, although were clunky, did get the job done. Similarly, this morning's first contemplative exercise is going to be ungainly. How are we going to practice sati pasadis, mindfulness and meditation? Easily. During our inhalation, we're simply going to silently and mentally recite, perceiving this very turbulent play of mind. And during our exhalation, we're going to silently and mentally recite, relaxing into mind's non-graspable nature. And we continue. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesuwa. 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 Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Sawa. 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 Let us remove the first of two metaphoric training wheels, thus reducing the length of our contemplative exercise from 12 syllables per breath down to just 3. How will we practice Chand's physical approach to mindfulness and meditation? Simple. During each inhalation, we could silently and mentally recite sitting tall, which is an instruction to our body to generate a vertical traction between our tush and our head. That makes it easier for us to access the awareness of our sympathetic nervous system. And during our exhalation, we can silently and mentally recite the mental instruction to our body to relax. Let us return to mantra meditation. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Sawa. 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 How are we going to practice jhanas, mindfulness, and meditation? Simple. The key to mindfulness is to silently and mentally recite "notice this" during each inhalation, and the key to meditation is to silently and mentally recite "relaxing" during each exhalation. Let us return to mantra meditation. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesawa. 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 Let us remove the second of two metaphor training wheels, thus reducing the length of our contemplative exercise from 3 syllables per breath down to just 1. How are we going to practice the great seal of mindfulness and meditation? Simple. During each inhalation, we could silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this. And during each exhalation, we could silently and mentally recite the monosyllabic verb ease, which functions as a synonym of relax. Now that we have reached contemplative cruising altitude, together as a team, let us meditate as transformatively as Rey on Ahch-To under the guidance of Luke Skywalker. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesawa. 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 Let us rest in Sutra Mahamudra's mindfulness and meditation. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesawa. 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 Let us rest in Proto-Zen's mindfulness and meditation. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesawa. 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 Here's the key. As you breathe in, we silently and mentally recite, relaxing into the awareness of this. But what is this? This is whatever we spontaneously notice in the moment, effortlessly, automatically, vulnerably, randomly. Whether that which we notice is a sight or a sound or a sensation or a flavor or a scent or the like, whether that which we notice is an emotion or an intention or a thought or a memory or a figment of our imagination. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesawa. 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 Om Muni Muni Mahamuni. Oopsie. I think I made a boo-boo. Let's rest the great coalescence of mindfulness and meditation. So now let's practice a bit of the old mantra meditation. There's nothing magical about a mantra. It's just a tool we use to help us to physically relax during our exhalation, because physical relaxation is the key to mental release. There are many mantras. Each mantra has its own vibration. This vibration speaks to me. Maybe you'll enjoy it as well. During the inhalation, we can silently and mentally recite, relaxing into the awareness of this. So this is not concentration. We're simply passively noticing whatever comes up. And we're doing so vulnerably, passively, viscerally, and randomly. And the only label we're using is this. During our exhalation, we are striving to physically relax as best we can while chanting this 12-syllable mantra 4 times per breath. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesuwa, Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesuwa, Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesuwa, Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesuwa. It's ironic that letting go is as easy as relaxing. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesuwa, 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 Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesuwa. Let us relax into Mahasandhi's mindfulness and meditation. How are we going to do that? During each inhalation, we could silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this, which you may remember from that. During each exhalation, we could silently and mentally recite the monosyllabic verb ease, which functions as a synonym of relax. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesuwa, 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 Om Muni Muni Mahmuni Yesowa. 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 Let us rest in the great completion stage of mindfulness and meditation. Let us relax into the awareness of this. Om Muni Muni Mahmuni Yesowa. 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 Let us rest in Dzogchen's great completion stage. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesawa 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 Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesawa. Oops. Let us practice the utmost union of mindfulness and meditation. Welcome to the remainder of this morning's live stream. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist meditation, Buddhist chanting, Buddhist philosophy, or how to apply them, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesawa Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesawa Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesawa Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesawa. During the inhalation, we can set our intention simply by silently and mentally reciting, relaxing into the awareness of this. During our exhalation, we can physically relax as best we can while chanting 4 repetitions of this 12-syllable mantra per breath. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesawa 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 Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesawa. Let us rest in Ati Yoga's utmost union of mindfulness and meditation, which is terribly flowery, but what does it mean? What is the key to practicing mindfulness? During our inhalation, we could silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this, and when the key to meditation is to silently and mentally recite the 1-syllable verb ease, which functions as a synonym of relax during each exhalation. Every time we relax into our exhalation, whatever circumstances we might have noticed during our inhalation could begin to feel as if they were as non-graspable as a real or imagined Buddha's paradise comprised only of light. I should say paradise of lore comprised only of light. We return to mantra meditation. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesawa. 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 Let us slice through the duality of hope and fear. As we slice through the duality of hope and fear, we could find ourselves... Let's try this again. Fun with verbiage. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever physical phenomena we might experience during our inhalation could begin to feel as if it was as non-graspable as a real or imagined Buddha comprised only of light. And thus we slice through the duality of hope and fear. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Esawa Om. 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 Muni Muni Mahamuni Esawa. Let us rest and Trek shows slice through the duality of hope and fear. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Esawa Om. 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 Muni Muni Mahamuni Esawa. As we relax into our inhalation, whatever experience of the interpersonal we perceive during our inhalation could begin to feel as if it was as non-graspable as a real or imagined mantra comprised only of light. Or I should say, as a real or imagined Buddha's loving communication symbolized by a mantra comprised only of light. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesowa. 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 As we relax into our exhalation, whatever perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, or imagination we experience during our inhalation could begin to feel as non-graspable as a real or imagined Buddha's fully enlightened mind, symbolized by a one-syllable mantra comprised only of light. Welcome to the remainder of this morning's live stream. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist meditation, Buddhist philosophy, or their application, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window, and I'll be happy to answer your questions for you. During our inhale, so we're going to turn now to mantra meditation. During our inhalation, let's silently and mentally recite, relaxing into the awareness of this. And during our exhalation, let's physically relax as best we can as we chant this 12-syllable mantra 4 times per breath. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesowa. 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 Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesuwa. 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 As we relax into our exhalation, whatever sensations at the crown of our head we might experience during our inhalation could begin to feel as if they were as non-graspable as a real or imagined Buddha comprised only of white light. Welcome to the remainder of this morning's live stream. If at any point you have a specific question about Buddhist chanting, Buddhist meditation, Buddhist philosophy, or their application, simply type your question in great detail in the chat window. During our inhalation, let's silently and mentally recite, relaxing into the awareness of this. And during our exhalation, let's physically relax as best we can as we chant this 12-syllable mantra 4 times per breath. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Yesuwa. 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 How are we going to practice the slice through? How are we going to slice through the duality of hope and fear? Easily. During our inhalation, we're going to silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this. And during our exhalation, we're going to silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease, which functions as a synonym of relax. Welcome to the remainder of this morning's live stream. As we breathe in, let us silently and mentally recite, relaxing into the awareness of this. And as we exhale, let's physically relax as best we can while chanting or striving to chant this 12-syllable mantra 4 times per breath for a total of 4 breaths. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Eswa. 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 As we relax into our exhalation, whatever sensations of our lower abdomen we might spontaneously perceive during our inhalation could begin to feel as if they were as non-graspable as a real or imagined Buddha comprised only of green light. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Eswa. 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 As we relax into our exhalation, whatever awareness of our throat we might spontaneously experience during our inhalation could begin to feel as if it was as non-graspable as a real or imagined Buddha comprised only of red light. Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesuwa. 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 As we relax into our exhalation, whatever sensations we may spontaneously notice near our navel could begin to feel as if they were as non-graspable as a real or imagined Buddha comprised only of gold light. Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesuwa. 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 As we relax into our exhalation, whatever chest sensation we may spontaneously notice during our inhalation can begin to feel as if they were as non-graspable as a real or imagined Buddha comprised only of sapphire light. Let us seal this morning's practice with the love that wishes for the universal mastery of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. And you'll notice little subscriptions here numbering the folds of the path because I'm silly that way. Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesuwa Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesuwa Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesuwa Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesuwa. May all master kind communication, conduct, and commerce. Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesuwa Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesuwa Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesuwa Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesuwa. May all master the effortless effort of love's centered spontaneity. Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesuwa Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesuwa Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesuwa Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesuwa. We conclude by wishing, may all master mindfulness and meditation. Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesuwa Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesuwa Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesuwa Om Muni Muni Ma Muni Yesuwa. If you feel I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 10.5 hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's early meditation, to lead today's evening meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the force be with you always.